And a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to yet another of our Spiritual Insight evenings. Great pleasure to introduce Lewis Powell to you this evening. Lewis is coming to us from Liverpool. And Lewis is the CEO of the Inner Guru Foundation and Society within Liverpool. Amongst his many titles, I was going through your website today, Lewis, and I loved your statement. And that that is, the Inner Guru is a community centre focused on holistic treatment and spiritual connection. We focus on healing created to assist people on their journey and to find their true selves, and to raise consciousness and build communities of trust. I think that is beautiful. So, Lewis, good evening, sir, and a very warm welcome to you.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me on.
Absolute pleasure. Amongst your many talents there, you are a Neo Shaman. Now, that would be a phrase a lot of us have heard of, but don't really have a great understanding. So if you could expand just a wee bit on that title and how that came about, that would be wonderful, please.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I don't usually like to label myself with a title, but I was asked a lot, what is it? What are you? What do you do? What's, And I was like, oh, well, I know that the term shaman, there's a lot of stigma around that and a lot of misunderstanding, really, because the word shaman comes from Siberian spiritual leaders and healers, and that's not my lineage. It's not where I'm not a descendant of any of the family or ancestors in that lineage, and I'm also not initiated into any particular tribe. I'm spirit initiated into the work that I do, and I'll explain to you how. Why I've chosen the term Neo Shaman is because the word Neo Shaman translates to not being tied down to any specific dogma or tradition. I am just working shamanically. I am guided by spirit, by what it is that I do, and I've been through a series of very intense trials and situations that have given me the experience and the tools that I need to fulfill the role that I'm in.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You mentioned earlier before we went live on air that you went to the Amazon and traveled a lot to learn more about this.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. So I started off on my journey of I'm not going to go into the whole life story, but my journey into shamanism, so to speak, was around 2012, when I was very called and drawn towards plants. I felt a real good connection with plants, especially psychedelic plants. Now, I went to the Amazon to find a teacher, a shaman of a tribe that would teach me how to fulfill this calling that I had, to be a healer. And I went to a place and I met some shaman, to an elderly lady, an elderly man that were apparently been doing it since they were very young, and I felt called to go there. I felt spirit was guiding me, to this place. But it turns out that these people were more like into sorcery and witchcraft and spells and voodoo, that kind of like energy. And I was going up through a number of experiences with them, like real consciousness expanding psychedelic medicine that comes from plants, namely ayahuasca, amongst some other plants. And I had a horrific experience spiritually. I had a near-death experience where I was, I had, visions of real darkness and the end of the world and a lot of fear and things like that. And it was like literally like I was dying. And I went through like these experiences like relentlessly over the period of time that I was there. And I just had like this knowing that I was kind of meant to go through that. Even though at the time I was very confused and I was like going through a lot of, I was quite traumatized by that and I was quite fragmented. But it was through these experiences, especially when I came back home, that blew my awareness open to things, that blew my doors of perception off. So I was able to then converse with spirits and at the time you probably see that as psychotic episodes or schizophrenia, but I was fractured mentally. So then I was being, but there was also guidance there. There's a lot of confusion, but there was also some guidance there from spirits that were teaching me, and the plants as well were teaching me. And it was a difficult process because it was having to get the ego out of the way while all this was happening. But I was shown all of the healing abilities and gifts that I use today. So that's kind of my journey in a nutshell.
No, absolutely fascinating. I get that as well. I do. I've not experienced that myself, but you do find with a lot of practitioners, they have that crisis point where everything just sort of like it's so tenuous, it could fall apart or it doesn't. And I hand on heart, I believe that with spirit guidance, you're never pushed to that point where it will fall apart. You are pushed to that point to learn something.
Always. That's the beauty of the experiences that I went through. You could call it a dark night of the soul, but I was like, my ego was absolutely terrified. I was terrified. But there was still always this like little voice, like even though it was like all this chaos was going on like in my life as well after coming back from the Amazon. Like it wasn't a pleasant experience whatsoever, but there was this real small, there was a real small voice that was guiding me, and it was so small, but I followed that. That trust and that faith grew, and the more that I was able to trust that, the more the confusion and the chaos was getting less, and that voice was getting stronger. So that's kind of like the ethos behind creating this center, was that throughout this journey of chaos, I found my inner teacher, the inner guru, and that's where what I out of that experience, what I want to bring into the world is like helping people to find that inner knowing, which is connected with spirit, that trusts and has complete faith.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Because you're based there actually in Liverpool, so I don't know Liverpool. I know Manchester.
Yeah.
I've spent many a night in Manchester, but I don't know Liverpool. But I would imagine, like any inner city areas, you are going to have challenges and situations that are specific to that energy and vibration that you work within.
Yes.
And my understanding here from what you're just saying is that was giving you the strength to be able to come back and actually say, if you put me in now running your center, I would probably fold within a week because it's not of my energy. There's no disrespect whatsoever. Different people, different courses.
Yeah.
But you went through that and then you came back and turned that into something not only beautiful, but something that actually really reaches out and helps.
Yeah.
Within spiritualism, our main ethos is healing.
Yes.
So, I can relate totally there where you're bringing people on the healing route and that community as well, because I've just seen through your advertising there, you have in times when we are fully open, you have many classes, but there's a lot of your classes are aimed specifically at the youngsters and at children to give them that space, better than being there than somewhere else, being not guided. So absolutely beautiful. Well done for creating that.
Yeah. We're actually we've created a program, and we're in the process of setting up a crowdfunder to get because there's another floor in this center where we want to have it solely focused on young people, especially young men, to help them, to guide them on their path before they get led astray, especially in this area. It's like, there's a lot of crime and things like that, and drug use, and I think to catch people early before they go onto the wrong path. I think that's like, to get people when they're like, coming from teenage years into their early 20s is like a really great time to get people on the track and on the path of finding themselves.
Wonderful. That is great. Please, when we finish tonight, put the link to that crowdfunding page onto the comments for anybody that so wishes to donate. But that is such a brilliant cause. That really is, because that ounce of intervention, you don't know what you're stopping later on in life. You really don't. I remember from my formative years, I was lucky that I was around people who guided me different places, but I also had people in my life who succumbed to gambling, to drink, to drugs, to a lot of different things. And my personal feelings were, I'm glad I had those people in my life, because they showed me what is possible.
Yeah.
And it was up to me to decide. And thankfully, I took this path. But yeah, that is such a worthy cause. Well done on you.
Thank you.
I believe, I understand that previous to all that, you were a DJ, yes? Or you still are a DJ?
Still am.
Sorry, I'm not writing you off yet, Lewis.
It's my passion. It's something that tapping into that creative element in myself is just what any spare time that I have, I'm like, DJing, like producing tunes. It's just what I really enjoy doing.
But music is a great communication tool. You can bring a great energy into a room just by playing music and certain types of music, and just bring that energy in. That's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it's a lifetime hobby.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well done you. You also founded the Cambo Practitioner Alliance.
Yes.
That's something people again have heard of, but not. And I will be honest, it is one of those things, depending on which articles you look at, some extol the virtues and others demonize it totally. So could you just give us a little bit on that, please, sir?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'll explain what Cambo is first of all. So Cambo is an Amazonian medicine that comes from a tree frog. Now, just before we go any further, I just want everybody to know that, by the way, these frogs aren't harmed in any way when the medicine's harvested from them. It's just the wax off their back and off the legs, and it's scraped off onto sticks. And it's been done by a number of different tribes from all over the Amazon basin, the upper part of the Amazon basin, for centuries. It's deeply ingrained in their culture, and this wonderful medicine, sometimes is misunderstood as a poison or a venom. It's not actually like frog venom. Like, there are venomous frogs in the Amazon, poisonous frogs. This isn't a poisonous frog. Actually, it contains many peptides and alkaloids, which are essentially like just short chains of amino acids that they all have like a specific function in the body. So they're kind of like they have medicinal properties to them. And there's actually been over 40 years worth of research into these different peptides that come from this frog secretion. It's really interesting, actually, because the scientist that dedicated his life to research these peptides from amphibians was the pioneer of neuroscience in the last century, Vittorio Erspamer, who actually discovered serotonin. So he's actually for someone that with that caliber of that status, to dedicate his life research to frog peptides, it goes to show that that it's definitely something. There's definitely something in it. But the way that the Cambo's used is it's applied to the skin via some small burns, in the skin. There's like little points, and what happens is it detoxifies the body, the mind, and the spirit, and that's what it's been used for a long time. And it was a massive part of my journey. It helped to give me a lot of clarity in my life. It works in such a wonderful and magic way, even though the process itself is quite difficult because it involves purging. Now, what I learned on my journey into shamanism, especially Amazonian shamanism, is that that the majority of the medicine that they work with is about purging out the things that are causing the problem, whereas our conventional kind of medicine is trying to like take a pill to, kind of suppress something, or that's kind of like the approach, whereas the shamanic approach in Amazonian is to get to the roots of a problem and to purge it, to let it go. And that's what this medicine Kambo does, is it gets into the roots of our being, and it helps us to expel any kind of negative energies that might be causing us problems. So it was a big part of my journey, and I actually studied it and learned how to administer it. And I'd been doing that since 2015. And then I worked with an association of practitioners that started off just as a way that people could share their knowledge and information. And that turned into a worldwide association. And it kind of got really big quite quick, and I kind of didn't feel there wasn't like full alignment there with the way that that association was going. So 2.5 years ago, I decided to set up my own association based in the UK. But now I'm actually getting some practitioners that are coming from Bali, and even got someone coming over from Ireland, and it's kind of spreading now. So we're getting this is just like a new association that is just where people can, Kambo practitioners can share information and knowledge about their treatments and about the medicine itself.
Brilliant. Yeah. A lot of the Western medicine is just treating like the symptoms, but not the root cause. And of course, then you've got big pharma involved that actually quite happy if you keep taking our pill to suppress whatever's wrong. Without being rude.
It's true. It's not about healing. I mean, Western medicine isn't about healing. It's not even really a talked about thing, is it? Really, healing.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
I'm very pleased to say that actually in the medical field there is more and more people opening up to the idea and trying to gain some sort of understanding, which is very encouraging.
Yeah.
We had a chap come to the church quite a lot, an Indian gentleman, really nice, pleasant guy, and he was a doctor linked to our local cancer centre.
Brilliant.
So I was talking to him because I just talk to people all the time. And I said, so what was the attraction? Why Spiritualist Church? He said, I'm really interested in the healing. And he said, and I'm just trying to understand, we have two wards. One is green and one is blue. And he said, the people on the blue ward recover quicker than the people on the green ward, and I'm trying to find if there's a link. And I thought, how wonderful is that somebody is noticing these things and going,
that's good.
So why is this working? More power to your elbow, sir. Got a few questions coming in here. Lovely Sue Townsend. So she's asking about the ayahuasca. Do you feel that, can you read that all right on your screen now, or do you need me to call it out?
I can. Visionary art appears similar with people. Do you fear that using this particular plant? Yes, it does, and it's quite interesting actually. That do you want me to read this question out, or
no? That's fine. People can see that.
So, yes, a lot of people do see similar images. When it comes to ayahuasca, And yeah, I mean, it's interesting because when I worked with the Shipibo tribe, there's like this sort of there's this like crisscross print like that they sew into all of their fabric, and only when I've sat and drank with the Shipibo tribe do I see this imagery,
right?
Which was quite interesting. But actually, when I work with the medicine, I don't get that. I think that a lot of it comes down to culture as well, like the people that are working with the medicine and the beings that they're connected with, the people that are holding the space. I think that has a big impact on it. But it's interesting because sometimes people see like Egyptian kind of imagery, or like Aztec-y imagery, or just jungle, like plants and spirits like that. So yeah, people can see all kinds of different things.
How interesting.
Yeah.
My little take on that is this last year, I have been absolutely amazed at the global consciousness. You know, we're hearing the same sort of words being said right around the world. These thoughts are being picked up on, and it has happened so many times now that you can't disregard it. That we are, all right, we are watching you tonight on the magic of internet, but we are linked in on a much deeper level with everybody, and that should be a good lesson at this time, that we are connected.
Yeah, it's amazing actually, because like I used to do more one-on-one work with people, but since this since the lockdown, I've been like tapping into my ability of doing things in a distance, and I can do like shamanic work, like soul retrieval, etc., from a distance, just as effective as I can when I'm with someone. Like exactly the same. I do prefer obviously to have that one-to-one contact, but it's broadened my horizons a little bit when it comes to doing healing work for people.
Very much.
Yeah.
It has taught, you know, we needed all spiritual practices have benefited at this time from having that shove of that you've got to do it this way.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you know, if I'd said in 2019, right, we're going to do distant healing over the internet, people are going, well, that's not going to work. You know,
it's a shame I haven't figured out how to do Cambo through the internet yet. That was maybe there might be some technology that gets invented soon.
Well, Zoom seems to be the answer to most people's prayers, so I'd start off with that.
Yeah.
Lovely Fiona, absolutely lovely. So she's a fellow Liverpudlian, a liver bird, definitely.
I've read recently psychology. Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's great that scientists are looking into it, but the mind of the scientists, I just think that they're just a little bit when it feels crazy to say this, but I feel like that scientists are a little bit immature spiritually to like understand the deeper level of it. Yeah, I just think that the way that scientists are taught, that I think that it would be very difficult for them to understand the deeper levels of the plant medicine and the spiritual realm. It's interesting. I think it's great that they're doing it, but at the same time, I don't know if it can be. I don't trust it to be held in a clinical way. I don't think that there has to be a bridge between like experienced space holders and the science, because I understand that there's a lot of science happening, and I find it really interesting that there's doing research on psilocybin mushrooms now, which is great, and the fact that they can do that in a clinical setting. But when it comes to things like ayahuasca, it really does need to be. It's guided by the facilitator of the space, the experience, and sometimes things can come up, and it's important that we're able to deal with these energies that come up in people. And I think that the problem is that I think it'll be hard for scientists to be able to grasp that doing this work with especially plants like ayahuasca would need a facilitator that understands energy on that level to be able to assist in that. So I hope that one day that they will be able to incorporate, healers, so to speak, in any kind of, work when it comes to plant medicine and science together.
Yeah, I really get that. The scientific mind is very analytical and thereby creates structure.
Yeah.
But when you're working, when you're working with spirit, structure's out the window. It's sort of like, okay, what am I going to be today? And go for it like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't work in my opinion. I mean, when I'm, if I'm facilitating, plant medicine, doing plant medicine work, I have, ego and my rational thought has to go completely out the window, because we're dealing with spirit and energy, and that's something that science hasn't kind of got a grasp on yet.
Yeah,
so,
and
maybe one day.
Yeah. Well, it's people like yourself there that are going out there and working in these fields and promoting it and bringing it into the mainstream. That this is where the advances will be made, because if people don't share the information and the knowledge that people like yourself have got, nobody's ever going to hear of it. And it's one of the goals and projects of these Saturday night programs is to bring in that greater awareness to people to make your own minds up.
Yeah.
So there's a nice little follow up there from Fiona. You are a hypnotherapist as well as a spiritual healer, if I'm correct, Fiona. And she's working in a hospice there where all types of healing are coming in.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think that is really beautiful. In fact, I actually I've had a few clients that I've actually took through to their end of life, with some of the work that I do, and it's and it's had a real positive impact on them. And yeah, I think that's beautiful. I mean, and this, do you know what I found, that so many more older people now are I know a couple of people in the pensioners age who are working with plant medicines and things like that now, and I think it's great. I think that to be able to work with people who are coming to the end of life is so special. Especially, I think that's just amazing. Really, that's really good. Really good.
We've got two parts of our life, haven't we? We've got the inception, the start of our life, and the end of this life are two really crucial areas where the right work and the right energy coming in and the right facilitators like yourself can make so much difference.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say that I actually I had a client who I actually stayed with right until her end of life, and even in the hospice that she was in, I sat with her until like the days up to her last breaths, and the energy that was in that space was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
really, sad, but not sad in a negative way, but I really felt like angelic presence in that space before she was and me being there and sensing that and communicating that with her family was like a beautiful experience. I know and it's something in our society that we don't, we don't see it as that, do we? And I think that, I feel personally that some of the biggest problems in our society is this fear of dying as well. It's like that it's a core fear that kind of drives all the other fears. And I think that when we're doing healing work for people towards the end of their life, I think that's just really, really special and really important.
Well said. I've been in that space as well that you talked about, and you are 100% right. It is an angelic presence just comes in. It's awesome. And it's a real privilege just to be there at that time.
It is,
Jan Paul has picked up on something, going back to Cambo. I think probably the energy of this is not suitable for most?
I wouldn't say not suitable for most. I'd say not suitable for some people, of course.
Yeah.
There's obviously people that are contraindicated, and it's not for everybody, that's for sure. But I would say that it was suitable for most.
Yeah.
Not everybody.
The actual purging process can be quite spectacular, I understand.
Yeah, for about 20 to 40 minutes, it can be, quite horrific for some people, really, when they're going through it. But afterwards, like, it's very rare that I'll get someone that has a camera treatment and afterwards they say, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, most people would actually come back at some point as well. They find that they get a lot from it, especially when it comes to depression, anxiety, things like that. It's almost like a reset. That's what it feels like for me. And a lot of other people claim that they feel like there has been some kind of reset gone on in their mind and in themselves, like it's a new page in their life.
Interesting.
Yeah, I find that where people are stuck in a rut. Have you heard that term, stuck in a rut? Yeah, it helps to kind of like step away from that and like make new decisions. It kind of like enables us to create new pathways in our mind and new habits, forming new ways of thinking.
Yeah. And it's that understanding as well, going back to just something you said there about with depression and anxiety, and how many of these conditions are the symptoms of a deeper underlying negative energy loop or influence or whatever you feel comfortable with in your terminology. But again, are these symptoms of something deeper that will only work by that expunging, that physical totem to purifying the body? How interesting.
I really don't like these labels when it comes to like depression, anxiety, things like that. I don't like that label because the problem is that when we say I am this, I have this, like, you are identifying with that as if that's a part of you. Now, it's like when, this like placebo effect, when we believe that we're taking something and then we get better from it, even if what we're taking doesn't have any kind of, active ingredient in it. There's a lot of power to that. And there's also a lot of powers to them two words, I am or I have. That's why I don't really like, if somebody says they have depression or anxiety and things like that, like you say, it's a symptom of something else. It's not like, I don't like the labels that people get stuck with, because there is, from my experience, there's always something underneath that has kind of manifested into something like anxiety or depression.
Yeah, I really, really go along with that. I think that the inner strength, my own personal experience was in 2000. I had cancer, and one day my two brothers turned up, and I thought, why are you here? And they said, we just come to see you. And I'm like, well, you live in the Canaries and I haven't spoken to you for 16 years. So you're going to have to do better than that. And they said, well, we were told by the hospital that, if we want to see you, we best come now. And that was a real turning point for me. That was my sort of like expunging, because I went, oh no, I am not ready yet. I will be out of here by Christmas. And I got released on Christmas Eve. But that was that switch, because I was in that environment, I have cancer, and that was causing a lot of the hanging by that.
Yeah, and the best thing for you to say to yourself if you're not feeling well is, I am healing.
Nice tip, thank you.
Because our body responds to the beliefs that we have. I mean, we can make ourselves ill by our beliefs. We can literally make ourselves ill. Like I've seen it before. Like I've seen it, even with myself. I was doing it. I remember I had chronic health problems personally, I had like ulcerative colitis, and I had a hiatus hernia and like IBS symptoms and all of these different problems. And I realized throughout the self-work that I'd done on myself that a lot of it was linked to guilt. Now, when I first discovered this, I was like, what am I guilty for? I was like, I couldn't even think what I felt guilty for. I thought, what the hell, I feel guilty about everything. Everything I do, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. And anyway, what I realized was that I was on all of these different supplements and pills. I was on medication for years, and that whenever I would like stop taking something that was like in my like regime of different supplements and pills, then I would get the symptoms back again. It was like as soon as I would break that, because I would beat myself up. I'd be telling myself that I'm bad, because I've not stuck to this diet. And I even remember having a childhood memory. So I went back into like, this was with a plant medicine actually, that I was shown all of these things. And then I went back to an age where I was a child, and I remember being like force-fed scrambled egg by it. I was in the nursery, and like they were feeding it me, and I was like, I didn't want to eat it. And if I didn't eat it, I would be punished, and I'd be made to sit and face the wall. And like that trauma like stayed with me my entire life. And then whenever I would do something that wasn't right, especially in regards to food, then I would punish myself for it. But that's what caused all of this discomfort in my stomach. So I decided, when I realized that, I threw all of my pills and supplements and all of the diets that I was on, I got rid of it all. And then I just decided from that moment, I'm going to eat and I'm going to do whatever I want, and I'm not going to feel guilty for it. And you know what? Since then, I healed all of my health problems.
Brilliant.
So it just goes to show how powerful our mind is at creating illness, but also how powerful our mind is at healing ourselves.
Yes, because everything in the universe is about balance. So yes, your mind can make you ill, but conversely, it can also heal as well. And that's very interesting as well, because that links in with another topic that's been on the worldwide psychic web. And a lot of people are looking at things called shadow work. And very much what you've just described, going back to that root cause, back to those nursery days, and understanding, because the biggest part of fear is we don't understand it. If we don't understand it, it's I'm going to err on caution here and run away. But doing that shadow work goes into the part of your persona that you don't display, the part that you keep hidden, and sort of like looking and going, why do I keep this hidden, and what's the root of it, and getting back and back and back. So
exactly. Clarity is the biggest tool in shamanism to do any kind of like healing. Is clarity. You have to have clarity. The thing is, the way that I see clarity is like a sterile environment for things to heal. Like when we're in a space of clarity, we're in a space of truth. And then when we're in that space of truth, any kind of illusions that are causing this distortion or this like confusion within our mind, when we're in that state of clarity, it can't exist anymore. So it's actually truth that heals things. And it's the actual, when we realize the truth behind things, then they no longer have to stay there. Because a lot of the time, the illusions that we tell ourselves is that oh, I deserve to feel this way, or I'm not good enough, or whatever it is that we've kind of been programmed into us from a young age. But once we get that clarity and we see the truth behind it, then it evaporates, because that's what the shadow is. The shadow is all illusion. But the reason that it's affecting us is because we believe it to be true.
Yeah.
And the minute we have that clarity on it, it doesn't. We can heal it then, and it doesn't exist.
Totally get that. Thank you. That is a brilliant explanation. And it is so true, isn't it? Because I think, it's like if we've got to have a difficult conversation with somebody, we spend all that time looking at all the negative side. And by the time it comes to that conversation, we've built it and all our defenses are up. We're not open to listen or debate or discuss. It's just sort of like we're going to go charging in on the attack, because if I don't do that, they're going to say this or they're going to do that. Whereas actually, if you just approach it in truth and just say, do you know what, we need to talk. We've got an issue here, and how do we resolve it? How brilliant.
Yeah, well, truth. I think that truth is the way that we can awaken humanity into, you know, a new world. Like, we have to just be in truth all of the time. It's the illusion that's causing the problems in the world.
Yeah,
it's that falseness. It's that, you know, that yeah. I mean, living inauthentically. I think that we should always be truthful, even though the truth hurts. It's better. Like, I think that it's better for us to go through periods of you know, questioning our whole lives, you know, in belief systems, than living a life and going to the end of it in living a lie.
Yeah.
You know, truth will always set you free. It might not always be easy to accept the truth or digest the truth, but it will always set you free.
Very, very, so true. One of my passions and very close to my heart is the state of the environment. And that is one of the biggest, to me, one of the biggest victims of not facing up to the truth. You know, we've got so many warnings. Yeah. We've had so much information, yet we don't face up to that truth and just go, hang on, this is destroying our environment. So we need to stop it, because that is the truth.
Yeah, I don't think... So I don't think that the best way... I was reading today an article about they're going to try and mimic a volcano eruption to dim the sun. I was like, no, that's just not the answer. It's like trying to put a plaster on a bullet wound, isn't it? It's like, you know, you don't, you know, you have to take the bullet out of the gun. You can't, like,
let's be honest. After 2020, you know, 2021 is the year that we're going to switch the sun off. Oh, great!
I when I read it, I was like, what is going on? What on earth is going on? That's just ridiculous. But there is scientists that are actually looking into doing this, and it is absolutely balmy. There's, like, you know, why don't we just, you know, stop fossil fuel? You know, there's so many things that we can do.
Indeed. And it's getting that empowerment out to people as well, because the most commonest thing when you talk about subjects, you know, what can I do? Well, you can do everything within your power. You know, if you approach things like that, don't approach it as a victim, approach it as the aggressor in a way, and go, okay, what is in my power? You know, can I go in the supermarkets and say, no, I'm not buying this? You know, if everybody stopped buying a product, you know what, that product wouldn't be there.
Exactly. It's interesting that you use that term victim as well, because there's a consciousness of being a victim, and the problem is that when we are in that consciousness of being a victim, that means that in our reality there must be a perpetrator. When we're a victim to something, there's always someone else to blame. And I think that that's not empowering to be in that state. I think that it's important for us to realize that, no, we're not victims when we choose not to be victims. We can be empowerers. Yeah.
And that is truly being reflected in our society at the moment 100%. With all this divisionalism that's going on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That, I mean, like, it's just, it's ridiculous. But the thing is with this, like, the victim mentality is that, you know, fair enough, you might have been a situation at one point in your life where you were a victim to something that happened, but it's something that we don't need to carry with us, you know, into the present. I think, like, that, you know, there's always that, like, there's a lot of blame, isn't there? I feel like in society there's always seems to be this, like, pointing the finger, kind of like back and forth blame going on.
It's trying to shift that responsibility, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if I can blame somebody, then it's not my fault.
Yeah.
So it is that conscious unconscious.
Yeah.
Trying to shift the onus from ourselves to someone else.
But it just creates division, doesn't it? More and more division.
Yeah. Right. Another question. Jan is going back to the Cambo, and she's just asking. Well, you know, a rough idea of the percentage that are helped.
Helped
Are helped by the Cambo therapy.
Helped. I would say everybody that takes it's helped. In one way or another.
Yeah.
That's what I would
So
say.
there you go, Jan.
Yeah, everybody's helped one way or another.
But
Obviously, it's the percentage is quite hard to
yeah.
I would say on some level, everybody's helped in one way or another.
Yeah. But it is very important to point out that this is a substance that is to be used by practitioners who understand it, because it's, as
100%.
you said earlier, it's not just the substance. You're the facilitator for that whole spiritual, physical experience.
It's a process. Yeah, it's a process that needs to be held safely by someone that knows what they're doing. Definitely, it's not something to be messed around with. I wouldn't take it lightly.
So please, everybody, don't rush onto Amazon now.
Yeah, no, please don't.
Trying to buy a tree frog.
No.
Fiona's back. Oh, she's loving you. Fellow Liverpudlian, that's it. She's right in there. And this is going back to, we were talking about, this, when we're talking about doctors and professors, absolutely beautiful what work they do, but because of that rigid structure, that conveys also to the way they interact with people. So there's a growing percentage of people are practicing what they're calling soul midwives. And that is, again, linking in with that energy of end-of-life care to say to people, do you know what? It's all right to let go. I'm putting it very simply.
Yeah.
But they are enabling, again, and facilitating that space to say to people, don't be frightened. It's okay. It's okay what you're going through.
Yeah, that's true. I do a lot of work with people to help them to let go of people that have passed and things like that. I also do a lot of work with it's called psychopomp work, helping spirits to pass that have stuck.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, what did you call it? Psychopomp?
Psychopomp work, yeah. It's like just helping spirits that are stuck, that haven't been able to let go of certain things, that they haven't been able to get to the light.
Yeah, that is interesting as well from the spiritualism point of view. Like you, I'm not very keen on some labels, and when people talk about they're stuck, they're stuck of their own making.
Yes, of course, yeah.
They're just there, and people build up this image. One word can mean 1,000 things to people. And when we talk about spirit being stuck, it's just because, we meet people on the earth plane who will never change their ways, will always work. I will get up at 7 o'clock, I go out at 8 o'clock, I do this, I don't have anything else that's not on the plan of life. And that will transfer to the spirit body as well. This is what I always do, and I'm always going to do it until that realization.
Yeah, sometimes they just need to be told that they don't have to be like that anymore, and they can go to the light. Sometimes it can be really simple process. Yeah, just need to be reminded that you don't really have to be like this, or you can be free from suffering if you want to. Sometimes they just need to be reminded, and we can help them.
Yeah, that understanding is good to talk.
Yeah.
So, Lewis, the work that you do up there, absolutely brilliant. I really am in awe of you. I love, rolling the sleeves up and getting stuck in with things, and you most certainly do that on every level. With all the community work and bringing people together, and your new venture sounds absolutely awesome. It really does.
Thank you.
It's one of these things. Each generation regards the other through different eyes, and we're seeing such a shift now in our generations. If we go back to pre-war years, generations sort of like gently molded in with each other, and it wasn't until the 60s when new things were coming in that people said, well, I don't understand this generation, and that's evolved even quicker. And again, it's a cause of divisionalism within our society. They're like, oh, we would never have done that at our age. Well, the kids are in a different world. That's why they're doing different things. It's so much more open. But instead of, condemning that, people like yourselves getting out there and going, okay, what's your issue? What's going on? How can we help you? How can we interact? Where are we going? What do you see for your future?
Exactly. I think everyone has their own path laid out for them. It's just they're so distracted by other things that, societal conditioning, really, that they stray away from the path. But I believe that I believe that everybody has their own divine path, and that their true self is here to do, and that's what the focus, really, the ethos around this center is, to help people to align with that.
Brilliant. I'm a big believer as well that we have the spiritual path. Yeah. When I talk about we've got plans made, I don't mean next Tuesday I'm going to have fish and chips. It's it's the big things in life. It's our whole goal and direction. Yeah. But the younger generation, the generation today have got so much peer pressure, not only through the power of the internet and social media, but also through, the TV programs and the stars, the icons, that they feel as they've got to aspire to and be like them, and not see through that illusion of just being, it doesn't matter how big, how small, how big your nose is. It doesn't matter. Just be you and shine. Yeah,
exactly. That's the thing is about the... another reason behind using the term inner guru, is because, for the past couple of centuries, millennia, we've all been about the outer guru, haven't we? The religious icons, kings, leaders, celebrities. They're all are like the guru, but lately, especially last couple of years, there's a lot of things coming out about our so-called gurus that aren't quite, it's almost the bubbles kind of burst, and maybe they're not quite who we expected them to be, or there's scandals and things like that coming out about them, and and it's what's this teaching us? What's all this teaching us? We can't trust our leaders so much anymore. You can't really say that many people fully trust their lead, the governments or their leaders. So, what's this teaching us? What is this teaching us? Well, it's teaching us, from my experience, that we all have our own inner guru. We all have a teacher within us that's guiding us the right place. We know what's right or wrong. Our inner guru inside of us is telling us and guiding us all the time of what we need to do. We don't need to look outside for someone to tell us what to do or to guide us. It's in there already.
Yeah. I so go along with that. I really do. Because another effect of what you just talked about, where, where we're opening up and seeing the real truths behind people, where that creates a vacuum as well. Yeah. Where people have pinned all their aspirations and their trust and their faith. When that's taken away, there's this vacuum suddenly, because that was a part of our life, and it is now being either severely challenged or totally removed.
Yeah.
So, and it's people like yourself who are bringing in these spiritual aspects, these deeper understandings, for people to start filling that void of saying, yeah, you trusted in that and that didn't work out too well, did it? But how about you?
Yeah.
How about believing in the power of you, the person sat in the chair talking to me?
Exactly. I went all the way around the world trying to find a teacher, a guru. I went on this mission to try and find a guru or teacher to tell me that I was on the right path. But really, I never got that, by the way. I never had anybody say to me, this is your path and you are, going to do what you're doing. And I wanted someone to do that, or a psychic or someone, a reading from someone to say, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. I never got it. I never got that. And I know exactly why now, because Spirit, I've had this, confirmation that, no, you needed to learn that for yourself. Yeah. I needed to trust that in me because I knew it. But why did I want to ask somebody else to tell me? Because I needed that validation. But once I'd validated myself, then that's when the validation from the outside came. So there's like there's a paradox of like feeling like could someone just tell me that I'm doing the right thing? Can someone just tell me? It never happened. They went everywhere. I even ended up going into the Amazon and having black magic put on me by these witchy people, and because I thought that they were going to tell me that I was, born to be a healer, but it didn't happen. Nobody told me until I realized that for myself, and then that's when my whole world changed.
Yeah, I well relate to that. I spend most days saying, really? Is this what I'm meant to be doing? Really? Tell me, and I don't get it. And you just carry on doing it.
Yeah.
But you said that magic 5-lettered word, trust.
Yeah.
And it's through all levels of spirituality.
Yeah.
Once you have that trust, and it's something you got to work at, all good things take work. Nothing comes easy, otherwise we'd all be mentors and millionaires and everything. It takes work, and it takes dedication, and it takes trust.
Yeah. Faith.
Faith in yourself, faith in some external influence, a God of your own understanding, matters not. But Lewis, absolutely magic night. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Please do send me the link for that crowdfunding, because
I will. We haven't set it up yet. It's in the process, so I will. When we're done, I'll send it.
When it's up and running, please do, and I'll be more than happy to share that, because that is just such a gift, to give to the newer generations coming in. We've got to look after them, because they are the future, and we've got to do our best. Instead of distancing ourselves from them, we've actually got to engage more and try and understand and work together and be honest. Lewis, have you anything final to say to the lovely people who've been on tonight?
I'd just like to ask everybody if they would just trust themselves more. Trust your own intuition. Like, intuition is such a powerful tool, and sometimes trusting your intuition is going against beliefs, but it's all from my experience and the experience of other people that are connected to me. Once they've started to trust their intuition, life just becomes almost effortless.
Well said. And I will add one caveat to that. If you trust it and it doesn't quite work out, just retrace to where it started going wrong and start again.
Brilliant.
Lewis, sir, thank you so much for your time. It is greatly appreciated. I realise you're a very busy man, but so interesting what you shared tonight. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really is so refreshing. I'm going to sound like the old fogey now. It's so refreshing to hear from another generation these thoughts, these aspirations, these ideas, his link with spirit. Everything you've been saying tonight. I'm sat there internally going, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well done. Thank you.
Brilliant. Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. I can't remember who's on next Saturday, but I know it's somebody lovely, because I haven't got my diary with me, but never mind. We look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you, everybody. Good night, and God bless.
Bye.